Hey, what's up everybody? This is Victor. So this is going to be the first in a bit of a series that I'm going to start here on YouTube. So I'm going to start by going through some free tools and then making my way up to some more, maybe some more complicated tools or just more technical stuff. But I'm pretty much going to check out all the suggested, like the frequently suggested tools for marketers and kind of explain why maybe you wouldn't want to use them or why there's better ways than relying on tools like this. So I'm going to start with simple stuff, maybe more like free stuff, because that way I guess it's simpler to explain at first, and then maybe through the series I can, expand into more complicated questions. But to start out, this video is going to be about AnswerThePublic. So this is a tool that I see recommended by everybody out there. Not everybody, but you know what I mean. This tool just helps you generate some topics for your blog. So I'm going to show you why relying on tools like this is not really the best way for the long term, or rather better ways to find better topics. Another thing you're going to notice really quickly is that using a tool like this, or maybe something similar to it, it might give you a few good ideas right off the bat, but after that, the rest of the suggestions just aren't very good. So I already ran a search here, so I typed in personal injury cases. So for this video, I want to take a look at something that I feel like there's just so much to talk about online. There's so many topics out there that people have used to drive traffic to their law firm websites. So this should be a pretty good example. So for this video, let's just say that we're going to try to rank somebody that's a personal injury lawyer in the Miami area somewhere, and we're just trying to get some good blog topics put together. So ideally, and nowadays for this type of campaign, you would be pretty largely focused on the MAPS rankings. So something that would be very beneficial is if we can find topics that are not just about injury cases, something that's local to South Florida maybe. So any sort of creative stuff like that a lot of people would be searching for that pertains to personal injury cases. Maybe you might start with a search like this, right, to get your blog topics. So let's start breaking this down, and then later I'm going to show you a more manual way to kind of pick apart blog topics that are, I would say, much more competitive. So going through, let's just kind of start here. Why personal injury cases take so long. A lot of these you're going to see, this is what I would refer to as like a low value topic. How much really can you write about that? Or can you really provide that much value, given that question? A lot of times something like this, maybe it fits better on a different page, like or rather maybe you don't want to make an article just about that, but that's just like part of something else, like maybe part of the actual service page for personal injury cases, or maybe it's just found somewhere in like an FAQ section on that page. Anything that's super low value like this, a lot of times I'll go through and check, and maybe this just makes much more sense to be answered with a different page that already exists. So don't forget that pages can be used to answer at least a few different variations of queries. So obviously you're not gonna get a page that ranks really well for a slip and fall case, and then one that's about car accident cases. Like, you're not going to use one page to be able to rank on both sets of queries there. But maybe very generic questions like this can be very easily acquired just by placing this question and answering it fully on, let's say, the personal injury lawyer page for that city. Why do personal injury cases go to trial? This one's not too bad. I would obviously rephrase this and maybe try to get a more all-encompassing topic out of this. But this one's not too bad, I don't think. How to get personal injury cases. So I guess that's more so on the attorney side, trying to understand how to do their marketing. And the next one, most common personal injury cases. Again, very low quality topic. Maybe if it's rephrased to be something like most common cases that go to trial, or most common cases to get compensated. I mean, it's just, I don't see too much of an answer to really be providing for something like that. How do you know if you have a personal injury case? I think that's a pretty good one, especially amongst the other ones there. You can really go into detail about different type, like you can give examples and really go into detail with a nice page there. Okay, so we did that category. So a lot of these you'll see can kind of repeat. Or rather, like, do personal injury cases settle after deposition? That might also go to cases that go to trial or cases that settle. That might be done on the same page. There's another one, why do personal injury cases go to trials? Do personal injury cases go to trial? So you could already see that one's probably grouped there, being, ranking for those queries with the same page. Do personal injury cases settle at mediation? Again, there's another one that now fits, and you can start matching these up. If you're trying to get some sort of value out of something like this, you'd obviously have to start matching stuff up here. And which I think introduces another level of complexity that not every person understands, is how to group your keywords. So it goes into like the whole process of learning what intent there is. So what exactly does the user need to find when they search something like this? And going through just a little bit of a brainstorming process as to, okay, well, that would make sense getting answered by the same page as this one. That would make sense if we just expand that topic to cover this one. And you start to really form, your pages out of there. So yeah, you can get a little bit of value out of stuff like this. But I think after a short amount of time, you'll start to see that there's a lot of repeats, or rather just very low value stuff. Again, another repeat here, most common. Yeah, tons and tons of repeats. Personal injury cases in Canada, India, Jamaica. I mean, we're doing like Miami. And so I don't think, there's only so much that this stuff can really ever help you with. See, Aldi, you could do a case, or you could do a case. You could do a page about the policies, the liability policies at Aldi. That's a pretty good page to make. You could get something out of that one there. COVID-related injuries. A lot of other stuff is very generic. Very generic. So basically, when I go through tools that help you find topics, this is the same type of stuff that I tend to get. So, all right. So what's a better way to do this? So let's simulate a search here, because I'm just trying to see who is the top ranking personal injury lawyer. And for a larger city, I might want to put like a zip code, but just for this video, I'm just going to skip that. We're just going to type out the city, which I believe will just grab the center point of the city, which is typically somewhere around Brickell. So somebody that's always ranked very well organically was lavlaw.com. And I've already really gone through the site through the past, but this would be a great opportunity to show you an easy way to start generating some of your own topics in a much more competitive way. So the reasoning here is, Google already knows who's ranking, right, in every area. And especially like what I was saying, where I've already been watching this specific city in this practice area, I already know who's been ranking there, right, for over the past year, who's up and coming, who's been brought down. So, but even if you don't, doing a quick search like this, maybe even switching up the area using different zip codes, just to be completely sure that you're choosing the right competitors. Basically, you're selecting people that the platform has already decided is a top-ranking lawyer. It then starts to even learn what it means to be a top-ranking lawyer in the city, just by from the traffic it gets, from the interactions it gets, from the different patterns that you'll see users kind of leave across the platform as they reach out to personal injury lawyers, whether it's this one or anybody else on the service. So if you're building a brand new law firm campaign and you're just trying to see, all right, well, what does it actually mean to be a top authoritative personal injury lawyer? Well, you can spend years scratching your head at trying to build. There's people that try to build like an EAT metric. You can scratch your head around that for a long time, or you can just simply go and see what Google says is the best content for that given query. So why not just go to those domains, especially ones that are ranking very well in the maps, and why not just check what blogs they have that are bringing in traffic? Because it's as easy as just going on here and clicking one button on Ahrefs and picking up across, what they get traffic for. So let me kind of show you how I would do this. Looks like my camera's in the way there. Let's move that. See if we can. It's probably a better spot for me there. So let me start going through some of these words just to show you. So I'm literally just looking across the whole domain. This can take longer if it's a bigger site, but honestly, like, these sites aren't that big. And if you're sorting them through traffic, that's going to be a big help right there, because not all the pages are going to be getting that much traffic. So you can kind of use that, especially as you look across different competitors. You can use that to weigh how much maybe you might want to focus on one topic or over another, aka which one do you want to do first over later, because you're only going to be able to publish so much content at once. So if we start going through what they're ranking for, and then you just check the URL, especially if you're familiar with the website that you're looking at, where like this one, they've got a simple structure where it's like city and then practice area, and then everything that's on their blog site is very easily just written out right there as /blog. So you can very easily look at that. That's a root keyword, obviously held with the home page. You could go through here. What's this? Vehophobia. There's a blog post on it. So they get quite a lot of traffic. And, if you end up replicating and getting the same traffic from the same location of users for, the same queries, I mean, you're essentially matching. Obviously, some websites will rank for gibberish or random stuff, but if you can identify all of the, key distinctions of what it means to be an injury lawyer here, just by going through and seeing, what topics they're driving the relevance from, then you're already kind of like miles ahead of everybody that's going through and grabbing randomized lists of topics from, you just pick them at random. Really, there's no sort of structure to it. You could do that and, and get varied amounts of success, varied amounts of performance. Or you can kind of follow what is already ranking the most, especially if you see something like this where it's obviously a low competition keyword. Why not just go ahead and produce a better blog topic that covers this topic better than the people that are ranking at the top for it? I mean, you can see they're getting tons of traffic for this. So unless it's something you really don't want to be ranking for, why not go ahead and beat out this article? You'll be surprised how many times you look at pages that marketers are putting out there, and it's just not that great. So if you have a pretty decent writing team and you're pretty good at instructing them what needs to be actually on the page itself, then you're already miles ahead of what the traditional marketing agency is actually doing nowadays. So you can go through that whole process and really decide, is this right? Is this topic right for my campaign? Because maybe you see a law firm that's covering other practice areas, so now you have to you have to sort through what you see here. Also, like I said before, sometimes the content strategy is no good. Sometimes the content strategy that people use and they're ranking very well for, they just have a bunch of gibberish words that they're ranking for. Like for injury attorneys, I'll see a lot of times they'll start to treat their website like a news website publishing about local accidents that happened. That's cool, but you're just filling up your search console and your analytics and everything with a bunch of gibberish information in there for keywords that aren't of value anyways. So there's a little bit of searching through, but if you start peeking through, like, look, free windshield replacement, that's obviously very relevant for Florida, even like South Florida maybe specifically. But having this stuff on here is, in essence, what makes this law firm recognized as a top Miami lawyer. So going through here, and obviously I sorted through most traffic, trying to pick apart. See, I don't know. See, I don't know about this one, right? So just pick and choose, but you'll be surprised, how many good topics you'll find, and you don't have to exactly copy them. You could just be creative and even find a way to cover that better. You might even, what tends to happen with me, you might find something in one city that is not being done in yours. And maybe that is actually something that people are searching for, and it's just not being fulfilled right now very well by the results. So you could go through this process of looking through every top lawyer in your practice area, see every single thing they rank for, write down all the topics, go through every major city, and you've got yourself a pretty meaty content strategy there. Obviously, prioritizing stuff that's locally relevant is going to go a long way for any sort of local campaign. But, yeah, it's a lot of pages, but, as you start going through them, you'll realize it's not that much to really sort through. Not if you start to get actual really good topics. Do I have to go to court after a car accident? Anything that you can actually identify as getting traffic like this is going to be like a million times better than stuff like this. And then some cities, they've got more popular with like the Lime bikes, the Lime scooters, for example. There's only some cities that have that, so you can make locally relevant articles like that out of like distinctions between city to city. That type of stuff is very helpful as well. I want to see if there's anything really more amazing that I can find in here. But we can get all sorts of ideas here for topics. And I've only gone through one law firm there, so you could just go through this process with every law firm. It's pretty much, a simple manual way for you to be doing this. No, it's not free, but you can kind of see how if you run your campaigns with the free tools and you're using something simple to just pull up like generic topics, if you're just publishing articles just to publish articles, then that might be fine for what your strategy was, but there's definitely a very advantageous way to do this if you can narrow down on what's most authoritative in that specific area. So yeah, thanks for watching. Let me know if you have questions, and drop me a comment if you have ideas for future videos. But that's gonna be it for me, so I'll catch you guys on the next one.